Hello, welcome Capricorn to your Astroflower reading. This is going to be an Astroflower reading from the mid of January, going right up to the end of January. A lot of things going on, really. We got the Mercury retrograde that just sort of happened. I think it's gone through now by the time you've probably seen this. And then we go into Mars retrograde, and then we come back into Mercury retrograde as well. And then at the beginning of March, there's loads of stuff going on in the planetary world according to astrology. I'm not an astrologist. I'm a healer. That's what I do. But I'm very interested by lots and lots of different angles and avenues of life, as it were. So, yeah, it's good to sort of cover all the grounds. So, Capricorn, we're going to do today is we're going to be do a reading on your chakras and your auras, and your aura, sorry, and then we're going to be pulling some cards for those 2 to 3 weeks. So welcome to the journey. Here we go. We got an Astroflower man here before us. Let's just get in there and see what's going on in regards to, so connecting there, lovely. Let's just see what's going on with the different types of chakras. Okay, let's get into the root chakra. Let's see what's going on there. One of the most, there's been another sign, I forgot which sign it was, but there was another sign that's also had the root chakra that was well installed on both sides. And you've got that really, Capricorn. It's a little bit lighter on the right-hand side than it is on the left-hand side. So you probably knowing Capricorn, like I am, you're probably fixated on sort of work and getting things done and getting things in order, getting sort of like all your material side of life sorted out so you can build up that security and everything like that. Seems like you got a bee in your bonnet and you're ready to rock and roll, basically. Or you got ants in your shoes and you want to get things moving on and you want to get things concretized, sort of solid and a good foundation. Let's just see what's going on there. You're working on, so we're in the root chakra here on the left hand side, so you're working on a lot of things by the seams of it, and it could be within the financial world, getting some things sorted, could be a new job or could be a career path. It could also be a business and a project and stuff like that. You're very concentrated on that sort of side of things. On the relationship side, on the emotional sort of side, it's as calm as a cucumber. Cool as a cucumber, basically. That's what it seems like on that sort of side. So there's no real pushing on the relationship side at the moment by the looks of things. Much more on the financial sort of side. That's where your root of what you're trying to establish within yourself. Let's just see what's going on in the sacrum. Okay, so there is an imbalance here, and this is because you're working loads. So you've got to, and I'll be the first to call myself out. You've got to find that nice balance between work and play. So you need these outlets, you need these valves, you need these pressure valves in life. And it could be just walking, it could be just literally putting on some music and dancing around your front room, singing. There's nothing better than singing and stuff like that and dancing. It could be getting yoga, it could be doing loads of things. But whatever it is, you need something regularly every now and then. I would suggest more sort of short things, but a lot more of them rather than one big thing for you at the moment, because it may preoccupy your time and your energy and your space. So I would concentrate on the littler things in life rather than the bigger things in life. Okay? Let's just see what's going on into your solar plexus. Oh, this is it's unmovable. It's so solid. It's like a good, I don't know if you've ever had wood burners and stuff like that, when your wood burner's really going well and you've got just embers, you haven't got fresh logs in there, and it's really pushing out some heat, but some constant heat. There's no holding back from it. There's a real determination with you at the moment. let's just see. There's a real determination with you at the moment. And I think you're sort of like, you're really on that work front at the moment. Let's be, that is good, obviously, but we've gone into the work play balance, and I think that needs to be a little bit of addressed. So then, because that chakra is so solid, it restricts your movement a little bit, and restricts also your clairvoyancy. It also restricts your flexibility within life, and it may help your business or your projects that you want to do to have a little bit more sort of flexibility within that solar plexus. So that probably needs to be looked at. We'll look at that as again at the end and see what's going on with the other chakra first. Here, let's just go into the heart chakra. I think this epitomizes basically the root chakra on the right hand side that we're talking about. It's cool as a cucumber. It's not well defined. It's not overloaded. It's not. It's sociable without being too much. It's very in a very balanced state actually, which is interesting because normally when you got the solar plexus really hard like that, you often get the heart that can be hardened as well. And I've seen that in the cut the signs already for this mid-January readings. But here is a case of it's not the, this is where Capricorns can sometimes get misconstrued. People sort of sometimes sort of say, oh, Capricorn, they're all about themselves. They don't really care about the rest of the world. They actually do care a lot. But we don't have to sort of go all sort of lovey-dovey about it. We're very practical in the way we show our love or show our emotions to other people. And you've got to get to know a Capricorn well. It takes time, I think, to get to know a Capricorn. But when you know a Capricorn, you know that everything they're doing is doing it for, whatever you do it for love. There's a song out of that in there somewhere. But, it's that calmness you have in your heart chakra does not mean that it's closed off or it's cold or anything like that. Although it's cold here, it just means you got that consistency. It's more like a King of Cups, which has that consistent emotional energy rather than the Queen of Cups, who is an expansive emotional energy. And it could be a case of getting out of your head and into your heart, but we'll see. Let's have a look at the other one. So let's have a look at your third eye and your throat chakra. Yeah, it's also quite balanced actually. Normally the throat chakra is slightly behind the third eye chakra. That's the third eye, if you like, and that's the heart. That's the throat, and it acts like a trombone in a way, a sort of scenario, because it's the same chakra. They're not two different chakras, and basically there you're sort of using your intuition, but it's not pushing it into the ultimate dreams and revelations. It's actually very practical. And it seems to be very calm. So you might be very calm in the things you say, which is pretty good because we've got this Mercury retrograde and all of that. You're pretty calm in what you sort of say, how you present your ideas, and so forth. And that helps to get, you moving along. That, Capricorn. Let's just say that's pretty good. Let's just see what's going on the crown chakra. This is what I mean by, you got to get to know a Capricorn. I think Capricorns at the moment are carrying a lot. I really do. I think it's very Ten of Wands scenario within the crown chakra. You're carrying a lot of things, and I think that's got to do with that Pluto that's been in Capricorn for 14, 16 years. I don't know exactly how many years it's been, which is that sort of you advance and then you get swept away, and then you advance and you get swept away. And that's coming to an end at the moment in this year. And as it comes to an end, it gets quicker and quicker. It's a bit like when you bounce a pebble off the surface of a lake. You get the first bounces, which are long, and then it goes, and it's going to stop just like that at some point. I think it is in March as well. Don't quote me on that, but I think it is. And then it comes back into Capricorn in November, and then goes out in 2024, which is going to be brilliant. So, and I think Capricorn's going to do brilliantly this year, actually. And this mid-January readings, which I've been doing for everybody seems to have an aspect of preparing for the new dimension. We're sort of in the new dimension, and it's like the opening ceremony to the Olympics. None of the athletes have actually run any races or done any sort of sport as yet, but they're just parading around with their flags saying, I've done the work, I'm now preparing myself mentally and the situation to actually do it. By the way, happy birthday to any Capricorns who've got their birthday at the moment, of course. Oh, dear, I can't believe that. So you're coming into your winter period as well. So from your birthday, that's your winter period. Now, a lot happens in the winter, contrary to the ideas. There's huge amounts of growth in trees, certainly within the roots. And this is how it responds here in your chakras. Your roots are very powerful at the moment. And because you're coming into your winter period. And as those roots really grow, and there's that tipping point where the sun comes back, and we move on towards the equinox of March. As we move on to there, that's when it starts bringing up the sap, and that's when you do that sort of transformation. And I would say that transformation for everybody is going to be in the beginning of March, basically. So it is a lot happening here, and I think food for thought is a good phrase for you at the moment. With this food for thought, it's taking the excess energy. It's taking the excess energy out of your crown chakra and allowing it to feed that solar plexus. And then when you do feed that solar plexus, there is a case of getting out of the head and into your heart here scenario. And I wouldn't be surprised in the cards that we do see the Ace of Cups and that sort of thing coming out. I would have thought in the reading we're going to have sort of contradictory cards in a way. But we'll see, obviously, at the end of this whole reading. But yeah, if you're doing in your meditation, it's bringing it out. And I would literally just sort of feed your solar plexus. So it's like when you bring wood to a fire, you might have really strong embers. When you put the wood on the fire, it's going to calm those embers down and start creating those flames. And that's what you need to start building upon after January, because the movement is coming in your life, and it's coming at an incredible speed. And you know it, and I know it. The rest of the world may not see that. And you may surprise the entire world. And in order to do that, you've got to just bring that energy down within your meditation and start feeding those aspects of it all. Get into that balance of the work and play ethic. And all of a sudden, you'll find yourself just kind of go, it's a bit like when you're ice skating and you're trying to find your feet, and then all of a sudden it bites. And then you kind of go, oh, right, I know. And I got it. So that's the scenario that's sort of happening there. So let's just if you just relax, picture your crown chakra, and there you go. However you picture it, doesn't really matter. And then just visualize that energy just slowly coming down between your crown and your root chakra. And you can even bring from your root chakra a little bit to sort of meet the two. It will meet in the heart and the solar plexus. So it gives that a bit of food for thought for the future. And it'll help you to sort of go forward. Okay? And then when you finish your meditation, it's always good to just do a quick energy hygiene flush, which is what I do with a soap bubble. So I put a soap bubble on my head, allow it go down to my toes and go and pop out. So that just puts you back into a normal, straight flow of energy, as it were. Okay, so let's just get into your aura and see what's going on there. I found this on a lot of people, and I'm finding it on yourselves. I think it's mainly to do with the past. It could be to do with the past, sort of mental conflict with someone or some situation, which you're still mentally having a conflict with. The problem with that is when we get into that frame of mind, we end up sort of like throwing boomerangs at it. And those boomerangs just come back and hit us. And you don't actually hit the thing you're looking at. You know, so you've got to let go of the past. If you're holding anything from the past that's causing you sort of irritations, complications, it's very easy to do every evening. And we all do it. And it will come back at some time, because that's what humans do. You know, there's no exceptions to this at all. No one is an exception to this. Don't believe it if they tell you, because they're not living life. You know, you got to be in it to play it, you know, and you're going to, sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not going to work. But anyway, in the evening, you just look at what you've had thoughts on, where they've been sort of very negative and sort of conflictual, and you can sort of turn around and say, bring me back that thought. There's no point I keep putting it out there. And what you do is you end up breathing that out of your habits of the day. And then it becomes less and less, just to the moment it kind of goes, boop, it's no longer within your mind, because you're moving on. And that's the most important thing. So, you know, just imagine those sort of boomerangs, you're just collecting them up out of the sky rather than letting them hit you. So then you can just sort of reduce that joltiness and that jittery energy that can be flowing through you. And that'll help you out loads. Okay, let's get on to your reading for this mid-January. There's already a card that wants to fly out. Out your mind, into your heart. Lovers. Okay, so I would say that the sensation of love is, okay, so love, I have a very particular point of view on love. Love is not something that you can give or receive. Love is something that exists and that you can share in that love. It's like a river. I cannot give you that river, and I cannot make that river. But we can share in that river. We can, you know, swim together in that river. We can fish in that river. We can wash in that river, you know, together. But at no point do I own that love, or I can give it to you or receive. It just exists. And, you know, it's taking care of that river as well, looking after it as well. Like, almost not looking after it, it's more sort of respecting it more than anything else. Let's just see what's going on the overall energies for you here for this end of January. It's very vibrant. And as I say, looking from the outside, I don't think anyone's going to realise what's happening in you. This dramatic change that is flowing through you. In a way, it's your divine plan. You have no real control over it, in a way. And it's coming in, as I say, it's coming in with such a speed. I said this earlier on. It's coming in such a speed, this changing aspect within you. And you're going to come out of this in a really good way. You know, certainly if you concentrate on where you're going, what you're doing, you know, the plans, the long-term plans that you've been working on, you know, do not give up at the moment. It is the universe here, or the energy is really trying to help you to get on. You're going to come shooting out the barrel after this Pluto. If you've been keeping your head above water, if you've done well to keep your head above water, and it's not easy all the time, you know, if you've done well to get your head above water, all of a sudden you're going to find those lovely shores of that deserted island where everything is in abundance. Let's just see what's going on in your relationship front. Let's see what the karmic message is there. Be open to the experience. Be open. You know, you look at the river and you might sort of kind of go, I'm not going in there. I don't know what's in there. I'm not going in that river of love. Yeah, go for a swim. Just go for a swim. I'm not saying, you know, Just go for a swim. Enjoy yourself, basically. And I think that's what's got to do with that balance of work and play ethic. Yeah, it's connecting with other people, but in a very practical way. This is what I'm saying about. It's enjoying life. It's having that experience in life where people will appreciate the work that you've had to do over the last 12 years to get to where you are. And then people will appreciate that sort of vibration around them. And you will appreciate the work that they've had to go through over the last 12, 15 years to get to where they are. And I think there's a lot of mutual respect here between you and relationships with other people. So let's just see how the universe is trying to influence this karmic message. There's a lot of buds waiting to flower. So the universe is kind of sort of saying, okay, we're ready to go, everybody in place. Okay, the flowers are ready. Where are the bees? Are you ready to get the pollen? Get to pollinate the flowers so the fruits can be done? I think there's a lot of things building up for you. Yeah, I think they're trying to sort of say here, with this card here, and this is where I say conflictual as well, the universe is not trying to cause you worries, woes, and stuff like that. It's actually what they're concentrating on is that one dove, that ace of cups, basically, that white dove amongst all those crows. I love crows, I've got to be said. It's a very Capricorn thing, crows, I think. But the universe here is sort of kind of saying, in the bleakest of times, in the bleakest part of winter, even the flowers are starting to bloom. And they're not actually, the petals are not coming out as yet, but everything is in place. And I think this is where the universe is trying to reassure you in this, in regards to your relationships. You know, you've been through a very sticky wicket over the last 2 or 3 years, I think, in regards to that. Let's just see what's going on, how the guides are trying to influence this. They're in this set position, like just before a race, like an athlete ready to spring, or a cat ready to go. You know, it's they're kind of going, yeah, we're all ready, we're all set. You know, and they're going to start bringing in coincidences, as if you imagine like a lion hunting. They're going to bring in that wind that takes the scent away from the prey, so they cannot, you know, your prey cannot smell you, as it were. You know, if you're looking at an animal instinct sort of thing, you got the elements that are combining around you at this present time, and your guides are helping to encourage that. They're helping to bring they're using a lot of the unforeseen energies, like the wind and stuff like that, which you may not have complete control over. You certainly don't have complete control over, but there is a certain degree of having control over it. And I think is recognizing how the forces are helping you around you is going to make you really advance within your relationships. It's going to realize that people are being brought to you in a way, that are coming out of nowhere. And as they brought to you, then you're going to find yourself in a position where, things are going to become a lot easier for you. And this is where all of a sudden you're going to spring forward. Okay, let's just see how the guides are trying to influence the conversation in you. It's like who's going to blink first sort of scenario. And their guides are sort of saying, hold tight, hold your line. They're really, hold your line. And I think if you do hold your line, if you listen to these voices, what they're trying to do is they're trying to encourage you to walk away from conflict, which we were saying earlier within your aura. Walk away from those conflicts that are around you, that you also are participating in. And as you do walk away from those conflicts, that is what those conflicts are. Those birds there, the crows, and you're going to be going towards the dove. That's what the universe is trying to encourage you to do. That's your divine plan. That is what you are here to do, and you are part of. And the more you can, the more you can recognize that, the more you can actually use it for your own benefit and the benefit of the people that you so desire around you. So in the relationship side here, I think there's some concentrating on the things that really matter. And when you do concentrate on the things that really matter, I think it's all change here. I think it's a case of, people that have been in your life may well have been actually toxic and you didn't realise it. And those sort of people are just going to be falling by the wayside by the looks of things into the unknown. And your karmic path is to connect with people that are around you on a very practical level where you can recognise and respect their due work that they've done within them. Let's get on to your financial sort of side. Now, this is where I think it's going to be running the most at the moment. This is the karmic message. There is abundance, and you may not recognize it. As I say, the abundance is in those flowers that I was talking about earlier on. Those flowers are going to get converted into fruit. So you may not see that abundance at this present time, but you may realize it. You may realize that it is coming. I can feel it in the air. This is my divine reason d'etre. This is why I'm on this planet. This is why I'm doing what I should be doing. The Ten of Wands. I knew the Ten of Wands were going to come out earlier. I told it, speaking about earlier on, it was in the crown chakra, which is this sort of like karmic path as well. You know, it helps to feed that karmic message within you. And I think you've been carrying a lot, basically. A lot of things around you. And maybe just being a little bit too, unfortunately, within the human world, do you know what I mean? We no longer have that animal side of us that is present. Well, it is very present, but it's not like like a tribe of lions. It doesn't really exist. It comes out sometimes, but it really comes out when it comes down to, jobs, business, material world, and that's when you've got to be a go-getter. And you've been very nice, I think, over the last sort of like 12 years. And I think it's now a time to stick up for yourself. And this is what it's sort of saying. That Ten of Wands is also the end of a journey where you've accumulated loads of things. And those accumulated things can now actually be served going forward for your long-term plans. So your karmic message here is now starting to allow things to just drop to the wayside and concentrate on the things that are really kicking for you. So let's just get into the how the universe is trying to influence this karmic path. They're giving like the sunshine that comes up over a mountain peak. So all of a sudden you go from the cold, frosty night and where the frost starts melting away and that glorious sunshine of the morning. That's the sort of thing that's happening for you at the moment. This is where the realization of your abundance is coming. So it is a calling. It is you're being called into your karmic path, basically, on the material side of life. And as I say, I think there's a realization of what you've been carrying too much of and how you can streamline it. And the universe is trying to do that. It's trying to shed light on the cold and dark things that you may not like looking at, but it's got to be done. And be part of that universe. Be part of that whole vibration of the human aspect of life as well. Okay? You're not going to agree with everything, but then that's what the human aspect is all about. So let's just see how the guides are trying to influence this karmic message. They've accumulated a lot of things. So you've accumulated a lot of contacts. You've accumulated a lot of knowledge, understanding, wisdom. It could be exams. It could be qualifications for doing certain jobs and stuff like that, or experiences in your life. You've accumulated a lot. And the guides are sort of sitting there kind of going, well, when you unload all of that, we've got loads of lovely things that we can put in its place, you know, or you know, abundance that is coming through. Yeah, the desires, you what long-term plan, what you've been desiring for a long term is going to be coming to fruition. It's going to be quite amazing for you, I think, in that respect. It's going to be those long-term goals, and this is where people will kind of look at you and kind of going, do you know what, Capricorn, they're not going anywhere and everything like that. They're still faffing around doing the same old stuff. They're not really advancing and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, you're going to come shooting out the other end. You're going to be standing way in another place, a little bit like that, yeah. You're going to be standing in another place, and then all of a sudden, everyone's going to recognise it and kind of going, how did they get there? I'll tell you how they got there. They got there through hard work. That's what you've been doing. You know, you've been learning your craft over the last 12 years, and it's now time to start putting it into the future. Let's just see how the guides are trying to influence the conversation that is within you. So people maybe in your job or in your business and stuff like that, or in your projects, you know, people will come to you sort of saying, well, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that, and everything like that. And you'll be like, yeah, oh, good idea, and everything like that. But in your mind's eye, you're kind of going, you want to be doing this. And you're going to kind of, at the end of the conversation, you're going to kind of go, yeah, okay, no problem. And then you're going to go and do what you should do. And you're a bit like that. You're like, ugh. You're like that chariot. You're really steaming it in there. And I think stick to your plan, basically. And this is what they're trying to say to you. Yeah, with the Queen of Pentacles. It's that knowledge. She's sat at the base of the tree of knowledge. And she knows where she's going. That's why she's got that wry smile on her face. Because no one else can see it happening. She can see it happening. She's got that pentacle in her hand. She can see those buds ready to blossom. And it's coming very quickly into your life at the moment. People are going to be surprised. People are going to be very surprised, I think. Let's just see how the overall outcome is. So what's going on at the end of March, getting ahead of myself, of January going into February. Very busy, very active, very happy. You're going to be very happy because you're going to be, all of a sudden, you're going to start seeing a lot of advances within your life. And I think in all angles, I think not only on the financial side, but also on the relationship side, it's like the sunshine has peaked over that mountain, as I said earlier on, and is now fully in the midday sun. You know, you've got this rite of passage. I think this rite of passage here for you is more of a case of, I've got a heated blanket under here and it's lovely. It's more of a case of you've got the universe that is carrying you on. That's what this chariot's all about. It's taking you on this path, whether you want to go there or not. And if I was you, I'd go there. It's not saying it's going to be easy. And Capricorn, you know, in a way, you probably don't like it when it's too easy. You know, so I would go in there smiling, sort of saying, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to live it. And that wave that was coming through the universe, through you, is going to carry you through. And I would enjoy that moment. I would enjoy that propulsion into your future. You will have a certain degree of control over it, but it won't be, you won't have complete and utter control over it, but that'll be fine for you, Capricorn. Usually this person is carrying a child with them, and there's a ferryman sort of carrying them across. This is like the idea that you're being guided across. Someone's doing the work, getting the boat across the river, but you're also carrying that child, a little bit like c'est Marie de la Mer. From the south of France, which is the Mary that was supposed to turn up in the south of France with a child. And this Mary is supposed to be the Mary of Jesus and stuff like that. It has a lot to do with gypsy culture and stuff like that. It's in the south of France. Go and have a look at it. So basically, what you're doing is you're arriving in a place where you have the aspirations of tomorrow in your hands. And I think this comes out of all the work that you've done over the past 12 years, as I've said. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. So enjoy the ride, Capricorn. Enjoy the ride. You're going to be propelled into an absolutely amazing future. And I think that will really start becoming obvious in the mid-February section. Really, really obvious. Like beyond your dreams in a way. Beyond the star moment. That is gradually filtering up through you. And this, if you unladen yourself on this side, this is going to turn in, the Ten of Wands is going to turn into the Ten of Pentacles in later readings. So obviously I will be doing a February reading, and it'll be interesting to see how that turns up in that. In the meantime, Capricorn, I've opened up 5 private readings or healing sessions for the YouTube watchers, which you will be able to find a link in the description below. So if you want a session, please follow that link there. In the meantime, Capricorn, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.